So at the end of February, I left my job at ESPN after 3.5 years there. I've detailed that decision on this podcast. Some of the reasons why I did it, I said. Others I've kept to myself, kind of for privacy reasons, because I don't want to get in trouble because it's somewhat of a public-facing job. But it's one of the best decisions I've ever made, and it was a tough decision. It was an anxiety-filled decision. It involved a lot of sleepless nights, some crying on the floor with my roommate at the time, some phone calls to my parents, and talking to my mentors about the decision. And I truly also just didn't really have anything lined up. I didn't know what I was going to do. And so there was a lot of anxiety, uncertainty around it. I had built this life in Connecticut that I was really proud of. It was my first job out of college, and so I loved it. So it was a really tough decision for me to make, but I ultimately knew that for my own happiness, for my health, I had to move on. Life is short. The pandemic taught me that. You got to go and scratch other itches if you have them. So I ultimately made that decision to quit. And since then, I have not looked back once. I have not regretted it. I am such a better employee in terms of I'm so much better at what I do now. I've learned so much. I've learned about entrepreneurship. I've learned about all tax things, all these things that I never really had to think about before. I have learned about since quitting that job and heading out on my own. So it's a topic that I'm really fascinated by. And because I'm fascinated by it, TikTok just knows what kind of videos I like to see. So I love these corporate videos, people making fun of corporate life or work from home life, whatever. So it just so happened that a video from today's guest on the podcast just showed up in my feed. The first viral video that you put out, Gabby, about your decision to quit your job, also at the end of February when I did, and how it's changed your life since then. So there's so much I want to talk to you today, Gabby, about why you left your job, about how you've now literally built a business around quitting your job, about TikTok, about your podcast, so many things I want to talk to you about. But first, thank you so much for joining me. How are you?
Hi, Troy. Thanks so much for having me. I'm so excited to talk to another corporate quitter.
Yes. So it's amazing. Is such an awesome platform because it serves you these videos. And so your video came across into my feed. And so then I clicked on your history, see what else you've done. And I saw what you're all about. And I love the ideas and what you're putting out there about quitting your job, which is a topic that I love talking. So that first video, a couple 100,000 views on TikTok, which is something that you had never done before until that point. How has your life changed since that video?
It's really exciting, but I now feel so much anxiety when I open up TikTok because to see that 400 people have commented on something and 700 people followed me and all these things are happening. It's really, really freaking incredible that an app was able to do that and change my business. And now I actually have a business because of it. But, it's terrifying too, because originally, right, my whole jam, as you know, is being value-based, purpose-driven. And if I have 400 comments, it makes it really difficult to respond to every single person. So that part of it is kind of sucky. But, at the same time, it's been so awesome to reach people like you and other like-minded people who are in a similar space of recognizing that there is more to life and that it doesn't have to be difficult or you have to check all the boxes that mom and dad put for you, that you can really create a life that you want based on what you actually need.
What is that you now want? A lot of us still, we quit our because there's something that's missing. There's something else that we want to do. Some key we just done while we're still at this job. So what is it that you envision to be ideal?
I think this question I have to revisit very often because I'm still underneath that corporate spell of the materialistic things really translate success. But for me, a lot of it is having my health. So making sure I eat well, I get the 8 hours of sleep, I practice meditation, all the things that really make me feel good. But also just waking up happy. If I decide I want to take an extended weekend and stay over at my boyfriend's place in the city, I want to be able to do that. If I want to spend a couple of days hanging out with my older grandmother who has Alzheimer's, and she's not here that much longer versus me being stuck in a job, I want to do that. So it's more having autonomy over my schedule and picking and choosing when I work and how I work. And also in the way of being more impactful in my day-to-day, because my prior jobs, I was just making money for a company. I wasn't helping anyone in any way other than my external volunteer stuff, which I love to do. But COVID completely shattered that. I couldn't do my volunteer hours. I couldn't do Habitat for Humanity. And so my doing what I'm doing now through the podcast and my one-on-one sessions and just creating content has allowed me to really get back into that place of providing value and impact through digital content, basically. And that's been incredible to realize that people need help. And I would love to be that person to be like the glue, right? To bring it all together so that other people can realize the same things as I have.
I love that. A couple of things there that I want to talk about. Kind of a big reason why that my health was taking a huge hit and I'm just health oriented. And I was like, I can't stand for this anymore. There's things I want to do. So I went out for 3 months there, temperatures kind of explored the sorts of kind of recalibrated and built my own business and realized, schedule. I also want to have autonomy. I want to exercise when I can. There's all these sort of I kind of want to do on my own time. I don't do other people's actions. However, there is all this corporate part because we are, me and you, is kind of through education by our parents, where we come to be a great American citizen and work for a business and work that 9 to 5. That's so it appears it's kind of hard to shake from that mindset. I mean, there's still days where I feel like I might not have much to do on a Monday for work, but I still feel like I need because that's on a Monday at 11 a.m. So at all trying to get out of that mindset again anymore.
It's definitely difficult. And even like, it's funny that you say like, oh, if I don't have much in my calendar, you still want to be productive. Like even the days that I plan on being like purposely restful, I still try to be productive in the way that I rest, which is ridiculous because rest is rest. But it's a lot of brain training. So I have to continually like, if I'm feeling overwhelmed or feel like I need to overperform, I literally need to remove myself from the room and like go for a walk or play with my dog or like do little things to try to retrain my brain to get away from that like 40-hour to 60-hour work week to the hustle, and really change myself from hustle mindset to like habit mindset, which I'm giving myself a grace period of a year. So I have maybe 6 months to get it together, but it's getting better. It's not so easy in the beginning.
So I think all of the listeners and the viewers want to know, they know why I left my job. I don't know. Why did you leave your job? I would love to know why.
The nice version is that it just, I was capped in a lot of ways and felt like I really wanted to like, do more.
We don't want the version. What went down?
Yeah. So my manager sucked ass. She was a bitch. It was honestly, I really did love my corporate job for a while. The company I worked at was 3 years. It was in asset management, which wasn't the field that I went to school for. It was actually pretty dry and buttoned up, but I worked for an amazing freaking team. They were like, so respectful, so kind. I had so much fun there. I actually enjoyed going to work every single day, but I got promoted internally, which, right. Yay. It's supposed to be fun. It's supposed to be cool. I had this salary. I had this new brownstone based on that salary. And it was in a department doing marketing, which is supposed to be like the coolest thing, right? Because asset management is dry. I got the cool job basically, right? Lucky me. Yeah, no, it sucked. I got pushed under the bus more than I ever have in my entire fucking career. I was basically they were withholding information for me. So I would fuck up and then they would be able to kind of swoop in and be the hero in the situation. I would get like backstabbed a lot, like thinking that I said one thing and then they tell their like higher ups or other people that I said something else. So it was a lot of bullshit like that. And so basically after a year, I thought maybe for a while, I was trying to go the route of like being humble and like recognizing that maybe it's a me thing, right? Maybe I just need to be better at the job. Maybe I need to have a better attitude. Maybe I need to be a quote unquote team player. I got sassed about not being a good team player from this particular team so many fucking times. And yet I've never experienced that. I've never gotten that response in any other job that I've ever held. So after a year of it just being struggle after struggle, I was like, this is ridiculous. Like it came to me clear as day. January, like right after the Christmas break, right? We usually have like 2 or 3 weeks off from work. I broke down in Penn Station, hysterically crying when I split from my boyfriend to go back to my apartment after we just flew back from Florida from his parents. And I was like distraught that I had to go sit next to my fucking manager at the office and deal with her. And like, she's not a bad person, but I don't like her as a manager. Like there are people who are not meant to manage people. They're not. And, so I was like, oh yeah, I'm going to quit. I'm going to quit. I need to figure this out. Well, fast forward 2 weeks, I actually had a foot injury, which came out of left field because I wasn't running at the time and gyms were closed. And so I realized, okay, I'm now manifesting a physical illness, and I'm joyful that I'm physically ill and cannot walk, because that means I don't get to go to my job, like another red flag. So within 2 weeks, it was just like, okay, I really need to leave because this is only going to go downhill. It's not going to get better. I need to pivot. And so that's kind of why I said fuck it and left, honestly.
Did you have any hesitation in that moment, or was it pretty determined?
No, which is really crazy because, right, you always have that idea, like when you have a bad day, you're always like, oh, fuck this, I don't want to do it. But I had the fear, right? There's always fear. There's always risk involved with it. But it seemed, when I said to myself, okay, I need to quit, and I actually like set the intention of quitting, and I set the meeting up with my manager, did all of that. I felt immense relief. And that's when I like knew, okay, this is the right path. I'm doing the right thing because I feel at ease instead of actually feeling like I want to die, because I was feeling like I was dying in my job, which sounds fucked up, right? Especially like boomers, they're like, oh, you're so dramatic, it's just a job.
Right.
But I have never experienced that before. And to me, I could see all the people who were older than me who had been in this job, in this career for X many years, and I did not like what I saw. These people were overweight. They were unhappy. They had broken relationships. They were broke. They were still paying their debt off. And they weren't making impact.
5 coffee a day.
They were zombies. They were zombies who were just doing the like, as per my last email bullshit, robotic jargon, attending these BS. It works for some people, and working a 9 to 5 is remarkable. It's helpful for so many people for so many reasons, but I reached a point where I was like, okay, I've been searching for so long for the right job, for the right team, for the right opportunity. It's now a point where I have to make it for myself. I can't search externally. It's within me.
I think you and I are part of an entire generation that has realized over the last few years, and especially during the pandemic, that happiness at your job actually matters, and that realizing that you can want to be a tangible matters. Whereas, I've seen some of your videos kind of criticizing the older generation. I've certainly done that on this show because they just kind of come from the mindset of your job, work is paycheck is a paycheck, 401k, you need care, and all that. If you have a job in the process of getting all that, then so be it. So I'm fully with you in your decision to leave. I kind of did the same.
It's not easy. It's not easy.
Yeah.
It takes an immense amount of courage.
So the reason why I left it because there's this one like famous personality that I follow. His name's Colin Cowherd, and he's on his show when I was in college. Because he had left his job at one big network or another big network, and he basically said the reason why I left was you need to check good management, not good money. You get paid else like very well, very have really management people who are telling you what to do all the time, don't give you autonomy, who are they go somewhere else, make less money, but have more control, more autonomy, having me be more about you, and you feel empowered to make creative decisions and whatnot. And so that is something that I have found to be true. And you, it's as well. It is so much more important to people that you like, that trust you, that empower you, that tear you down and do backstabbing shit behind your back. I think that's really important. So for anyone else, and I'm sure this is probably something that comes up in conversations with your clients, chase good management, not good money. It makes such a huge difference.
Yeah, it definitely makes a huge difference. And that's even, that's with anything, right? Not only good in management, for a job, but like the friends you have, the relationships, the people you date, like all of those experiences will make it either good or bad. It's up to you to decide A, what you choose, but also B, how you react. Yeah.
All right. So you've got this going on where you are advising people on how to quit their jobs, which I absolutely love. What are a lot of my friends, I'm sure your friends as well, talk about once they have those bad days, I quit my being promoted, I'm not making as much money, yada, yada. There's all these things that we bitch about when it comes to work. And so we say we want to quit our jobs. Now, me and you bit the bullet and did quit our jobs. There who say they want to and probably won't. In your conversations that you are having with the people who are coming to you, what are the biggest reasons holding people back from, doing it?
It's confidence, 1000%. Because everyone thinks you need to be confident and figure your shit out and be an expert ahead of time when that's not the way that it works. The actual way that it works is you need to have courage and then the confidence comes. So it's really me talking to people and explaining to them, like, if you try to plan, your whole future, if you try to plan this out, if you do all of that, you're going to plan yourself to death and you're going to spend and waste the same amount of time planning before actually taking action. And even I tell people all the time my story. I started off doing my business and plants. I was going to be a plant person. Then I was going to do organizational consulting. Then I was going to be a self-help person. And after about 5 or 6 different business ventures, I landed on this one and this one worked. And this happened all within 8 months. And I still found success. Had I not even explored the opportunity or those ideas to begin with, I wouldn't be where I am. And that didn't take confidence. That took courage. And that's that's what really starts it, is you need to be fearless. You need to just take action and be willing to fuck up and be vulnerable. And then the confidence will come. It's not the opposite.
I didn't know you had all those business ventures.
Yeah, dude. No one, it's never a straight path. And even with what I'm doing now. So I launched my podcast in May of this year. So it's been about 4 months, just shy of 4 months. And when I started I was talking about corporate quitting, quitting corporate, but I had a different kind of mentality of how I was going to go about it. I thought I was going to be the expert on being the podcast person, like how to help people launch podcasts and scale and find guests and monetize. And what ended up happening is I did that for a little bit and I liked it. And I took pieces here and there and applied them and got rid of this and kept that. And then what ended up happening is people started reaching out to me and saying, hey, I love what you're doing. Kind of like how we got connected. I want to quit corporate too. And I want to do this. And people were suggesting things. And so it's a no-brainer for me to do the things that people are asking because they're asking for it. Like I would never want to bring a product to the market and spend so much time and money developing an ebook or a course, but no one wants it. Just because you think it's cool and people want it doesn't actually mean that that's what's necessary. So without me even realizing it, me taking the leap ahead of time and trying different things actually weave the way and pave the way for me to create what I'm creating now. And again, the same thing. I didn't have the idea to create a Facebook group and a community, but it's being developed because people are asking for it. And so because there's a need, there's an obvious way to monetize that, because so long as they meet the need and provide value, it's a win-win for everyone.
So what do the your life, your family, your friends, your boyfriends, co-workers from past jobs, what are they now saying about your new ventures?
Oh my God, girl, how'd you do it? I want to know. But 2 months ago, they're like, that's fucking stupid. That's risky. What are you doing about money? I don't like what you're doing. I actually got into so many arguments with people, like near and dear friends, my boyfriend, like people who thought I was crazy for going on TikTok. Like, oh, you're fully talked, as some people call. Oh, you're fully talked. Like you're one of those people now. You're full of shit. Like, you can't make it. Like this isn't cool. Like you look like a loser. What are you, 12 years old? Blah, blah, blah. And now all of a sudden I'm starting to get like thousands of like podcast downloads and people are reaching out to me. I mean, I opened up my TikTok app. What was it this morning? I had like 700 comments. What the hell? Like that's overwhelming as fuck. But also, okay, a month ago, you told me I wouldn't make it. And now look where it's at. So it's kind of, I'm in this transitional moment of like kind of trying to bask in all the like, oh my God, amazingness. And the other part of me is like panicking. But it is really interesting because a lot of people along the way have supported me and others haven't. And it's really great to, I mean, if we're being honest, rub it in their face. But the other part too is to see like, there was no greater test to my inner circle than me doing this, to see who was actually like willing and wanted to help and support me. And there are other people who like people that I've known my whole life who have not asked me a single fucking question about my business and where it's going and how I'm doing since it started, which is insane.
It's in times like these where you really know who's real and who they're always people like just in your life that that care about you rise to the occasion if they're for real. So I'm really excited about that for you. So like I had a really to my situation at work, and there is a slight part of me, like I always pride myself on being the bigger person. I think it's a human instinct to be a person. I think you need to convince yourself to be the bigger person, because there is a slight part of me that, hopes I felt, and that hopes like the old place cracked, right? Do you hope any like ill will or feel bad about the place that you left and like wish bad upon them, and that you guys just go on a direction?
When I first started, fuck yeah, I did. I wanted them to like rue the day that they like did bad by me. But no, now at this point, it's kind of like, I don't know. I have moments of like, of wanting to be the bigger person, and other moments where like, I have very human moments where I'm like, fuck all of you. Like, how dare you? Like, we're all human. Why would you treat me like that? Why would you do this? But also one thing that I'm recognizing, especially with this whole going viral thing, because I get so many amazing comments and support from people. And I also get really mean comments and things that really question my entire, like they will derail me for a whole day and doubt everything that I'm doing. And what I've had to continually teach myself in this chapter of my life is that the things that people do to us, they are not a reflection of who we are, but a reflection of them. So it took me a really long time to be empathetic towards this particular manager who did wrong by me, and to recognize that she didn't do this because she didn't like me. She didn't do this or act this way because she wanted it to be like this. It was because she was insecure in her own ways of working or what she was trying to achieve. And so in that way, I can empathize and understand maybe in a certain scenario in the past, I maybe would have acted the same way when I was a leader. But yeah, I mean, people suck. Let's be honest. There's 50% of the world is positive and great, and the other 50% are assholes, and they have to spend, they have to take time out of their day to let you know that you suck. Like, don't you have better things to do? Like, bro, come on.
Worse. So I've actually got coming up website soon about how, like, if you're in a shitty mood and you want to feel better, just go on someone else's Instagram, someone else's TikTok, like someone who's out there creating things. It's a nice comment. Like, tell them that they look great or that what they're saying is awesome, because it changes the physiology within you, being nice to someone and going out of your way to be nice to someone. So I will never understand the people who feel the need to people who have no idea who you are, no idea your story, no idea your background, what you've been through, and just feel the need to, based on 18 seconds of you talking about quitting your job, that they call you like a fuckface. Like I would never understand those people.
Yeah. I mean, again, it's the same thing of like, you've triggered something in them emotionally that they feel they need to share with you, that they don't like you, when in reality, they're just pissed because you had the courage to do something that they could only dream of doing. So for me, a lot of people, they wish they could leave their 9-to-5. I have friends who want to leave the 9-to-5, plenty of people. And also I'm privileged in the sense of like, I have parents that I could move back into. Like, I was fortunate. I like hustled and busted my ass 2 years ago to pay off my student loans. Like, and that's not even privilege, that's hard work. But let's just say I have a certain scenario where I don't have kids, don't have responsibilities, don't have all these things that a lot of people do have to bear the burden of. But that doesn't mean that you have to be an asshole and put your projections onto me. I don't know. It's a learning curve. I'm still figuring it out. It gets me fired up, and I have to go to the gym and like work off the steam that I have. Yeah. But
no, that's a good way to. That's a good way to. Yeah. Now, that you might get some blowback from something that you post on TikTok or Instagram. Do you ever feel any hesitation before you post something, or do you change what you say so that it might appeal to more people and not offend less people? You know what I'm saying? Like, do other people's judgment or potential judgment of you dictate your decision?
99% of the time I would say no, just because people know I have a filter, and that's my entire, like, my whole theme, my whole jam is to be like uncensored. And the people who are like super fans, the people who actually like me, who I've spoken to, understand that my intentions are good. I never mean to offend people. I'm in this for all good intention for all pieces, all people, like regardless of I'm losing my train of thought and my tongue, regardless of religious background, race, ethnicity, your gender, your preferences. I really could give a shit. but that doesn't mean that okay, the other day I said something dumb. I think it was like in that video actually that you saw of me. I got a lot of hate because I had said like, oh, I was slaving away at my desk job. And people were like, you shouldn't use the word slave. And it was like, the intention was not to say or mention actual slavery. It's just a phrase that I use because a lot of people feel they're chained to their desk by being there. And we all feel that way. So if you can't relate to what I'm saying and you feel triggered by it, I apologize. But at the same time, I'm not going to mute myself for one or two people who can't, I don't know what the word is, but like not see it for what it actually is and put words and descriptions in my mouth based on their own perception. Like that's not, I don't care. You can't get hung up on shit like that.
Yeah, no, you should, no, nor just keep doing you. You're doing stuff out there, creating meaningful value for other people, which is awesome. One of the ways that you were doing that is by hosting the Corporate Quitter podcast. What made you, because I love podcasting, I work in the industry, I have my own obviously, and I produce a bunch of podcasts for people in the sports world, and I love it. I believe in the industry. Like I love them. When I'm not on them, I'm consuming them in my own time, one shows that I love. So I love this industry. What made you want to do a podcast?
So it's actually pretty funny. I last year during the pandemic had, as you all know, we had a ton of time. And so what I did was I actually was looking for gig work like to do on the side, right? Because I was sick of watching Netflix. So I went to good old Craigslist and I saw that someone had posted like, hey, I have a podcast. I'm looking for guests to describe interesting things. Like reach out if you're interested. You don't have to have experience. I'm like, okay, I'll try podcasting. Like I like talking to people and I can't go to bars. So like, let's do this. So I reached out, we had a great initial conversation. And so he actually was my business mentor, or I should say my podcast mentor when I started. And we had a really great relationship and I was on like 7 episodes for a show. And that's kind of where the spark started. And so January, even before I quit my job, I started recording episodes to see kind of like how I could do it. If I liked doing it by myself, I tried doing it with a co-host, didn't like it, realized I wanted to do interview style. And so then I was like, okay, I really like doing podcasts. I'll do one in 5 years, right? I'll do it in a couple of years, not this year. But then it just so happened that I had the time and I was like, oh, you know what, YOLO, I might as well explain kind of what I'm doing in my life and bring other people who have inspired me to leave the job. Let's see what happens. And it's just blown up. So, yeah, it didn't happen overnight, but it's just funny how it went from literally Craigslist posting to me now having a full blown podcast.
It is where you can find them in places, and as long as you watering them every now and then, it can help you with dividends down the line, which I absolutely love. Now, one of those is that, so you mentioned that like you're getting your anger out at the gym. One of the ways that a lot of other people get their anger out is by getting into bets, you know, getting into arguments or on other people or something. You have decided to quit drinking altogether. Why?
Oh my God, you actually saw that. That's funny. I forgot I posted something about that. Yeah, I actually did. I went to a wedding a couple weeks ago and broke it, but I will not be drinking again for a while. I wanted to celebrate just for everything that I had done in the wedding. But I didn't drink from May through August. For a number of reasons. One was like money, obviously, like I was on a tight budget and you know how it is. You go to a bar, especially in New York. Oh my God. You go for like a couple drinks, it turns into $100 and a whole weekend is like $300 down the drain on literally liquid, like literally liquid. So it just, for me, budgetary wise, it made sense for me to like, if I like pocket the money. And also the other thing too, that was really bothering me was that, okay, if I went and drank on a Saturday and I'm 28 now at this point, I wouldn't recover until Monday or Tuesday. Like that's how long it took me. So for me to not recover by Monday or Tuesday, that only leaves me Wednesday, Thursday, Friday to work. And I have so much on the line right now that I can't forfeit a day to not work if I have podcasts scheduled, if I have one-on-one sessions. Like I need to be in the most optimal health, beat my game, you know, my A game, all of that. So for me, I was like, okay, I need to like scale it back with the drinking. I need to cut it out and basically eat better, treat my body better, operate better. And see also if I can operate in settings that would require me to be under the influence and act like different, but see if I could do it. See if I could do it sober. And I actually really, really liked it because prior I would act like a fool when I was drunk and blame it on drinking. And now I get still act like a fool. But the cool thing is I get to choose what it is I do and what I don't do. And I recognize that I can be silly and not have to be like drinking because of it. I can just be silly because I wanted to. So highly recommend if anyone's looking to detox. It was amazing. And I'm looking forward to not drinking for a while again.
Yeah, I mean, I think a lot of us, after having a couple rough weekends in a row, we're looking at our bank accounts and say, man, stop drinking. Of course we don't. I mean, I do think it is legitimately something that all of us like want to do or want to give it up for a period of time. But of course we don't.
It was hard, a lot of opposition. Like I would still go out with friends to like, they would all drink, but I would be there sober. In the beginning, it was so fucking awkward. Like I just felt so weird. And they were pretty pissed. Like they were trying to force drinks to my hand, like where I actually got into an argument with one of my friends and she was like, this is ridiculous. Don't even come out with us if you can't have a good time. And like, I was having a perfectly good time, but she was triggered, I guess, by the fact that like I was actively choosing not to drink for the greater good of my business. Yeah, it's just, it was a very interesting experience for me, but I also felt better. I lost a ton of weight, which was
there you go.
Always a great thing during the summer too. You know, got to have that summer bod going. So.
Oh yeah, hot girl summer. Now I lost my train of thought before this question, so I did want to ask you because this is something that I struggle with. You know, I'm not like a full blown content creator. This show and my social accounts kind of remain just like a side thing. And the point of having a side thing is you don't want it to be the main thing. It's something that you're passionate about on the side, but you don't want to do so much of it to the point that you're no longer passionate and you no longer consider it fun. So I kind of straddle this line where like I like putting shit out. I like writing things. I like podcasts. I like social media. I like talking about my life and all that stuff. But like I don't want to do it all the time because then a point will come where I don't like doing it and I get tired of it and I feel like it's a responsibility. So then when you feel like your side thing, when you feel like you have to do your side thing rather than you get to do your side thing, like that's when it starts becoming a problem. So I always have some hesitation about putting stuff out there or putting more stuff out there because I'm just like, you know, afraid of how it might be perceived, or do people care about my life? Do people want to hear from me in this regard? So it's always something that I'm struggling with. So do you ever, you know, wonder to yourself, like, or doubt yourself, like, who the fuck am I? People don't care what I have to say.
All the time. Even now with the following that I've grown, I'm still at times like, do I bother with this? But then I realize it's necessary in terms of a business regard to grow my business. But I will say I did do the like 30-day reels challenge on Instagram. I went ham in July and was so burnt out. I was posting like twice a day, which I've never done before. And that was really cool, but it was also really, really vulnerable. And I had to do a lot of things that I didn't like. And I learned a lot about myself. So going forward, I won't be using that model, but I learned a lot about content creation and like, again, kind of acting as a scientist. Okay, the hypothesis was I'm going to post twice a day. It's going to build the traffic. Did the thing. Now I'm taking the analytics on of like what worked and what didn't. And so I'm tweaking my strategy based on A, how I felt, and B, the actual response that I got from people. But it's a battle every day of like how people are going to perceive me. But I know, again, it's none of my business how people perceive me. It's what matters is how I think I am. And so long as I have good intentions in what I do, I can't say that I can't say that I'm not putting out good things because it was with good intention.
Another one of those big reasons. So you mentioned courage and confidence as to why people, don't lose their jobs. Another one, honestly, and was hard for me to recommend. I left my job at ESPN was I had great benefits. I had great health insurance, and I was really at that time battling I had like a bunch of lower body issues that I've been dealing with for like a year and a half. And so giving up health insurance was kind of scary because I liked going to physical therapy and, you know, it being cheap at the time under the insurance plan. So now I've lost that. Luckily, I'm in good health. Nothing has really happened here, but it is it is scary not having health insurance because if something does happen, you're pretty screwed financially. So you're just kind of, praying something doesn't happen. So health insurance is something that holds a lot of people back because they don't want to lose it for emergencies. There's always an emergency, right? So I know that you're obviously not having health insurance right now, and that's obviously a choice. So how does that sit with you?
I'm actually pretty okay with it. I know like there's the whole idea of like an emergency, right? Something may happen and that could be really, really like catastrophic. But to be frank, I never really used my health insurance when I was at my job. Like I used it because it was there, but a lot of businesses actually prefer cash, like my dentist, like all these people I go to. So I actually was able to strike up some deals like, hey, if I pay you cash with this, like, or whatever, my debit card, like, can I have a discount or something like that? And they actually like that because they don't have to rely on a health insurance, which doesn't really give that much. And there's like all these stipulations and whatever else and nonsense and billing, and there's like backlogs for them to do. So it's a win-win. But in terms of, I probably will look at some accidental insurance in the future, but right now my budget isn't a lot for that because I'm in such a tight place. But I also practice more holistic medicine, like the full mind, body, spirit type of mentality versus just the physical body, and eating better and removing alcohol, like things that we really shouldn't be ingesting. And yeah, we do it on a daily basis. So like not having things with food dye. Like, I mean, I can get into crazy topics about that, but just like coming from a place of simplicity, feeding my body fuel versus like garbage. And treating myself with like regards to like, I don't want to say like a goddess because I'm not on a pedestal like that, but like really treating my body like a temple. Like, no, but you know what I mean? Like, I just want to treat my body in its highest form. And that is like operating like a smooth car. And that's like treating it well and polishing it and feeding it the right fuel and all those things. Cause our body is a vessel and we're just we're operating a meat suit essentially. So, yeah, that's my take on it. I'm very holistic in my approach towards medicine. So I wouldn't recommend quitting if people rely on health insurance to deal with their like battles. And I've been fortunate that I don't have major ailments or anything like that. But yeah, that's just my journey. And that's kind of how I'm debating it right now.
Yeah, I mean, I don't disagree. I'm a big proponent. So everyone on the show knows I'm a minimalist. So I don't own much things, or basically I just operate under the idea like, okay, I have this thing or I have health insurance. But imagine for a moment, just if it went away. How would your life be different if it just didn't exist anymore? And so I had health insurance, and at the moment that I have health insurance, I'm like, I can never lose health insurance. And then I do. And then I'm like, you know what? Like, it's not that big a deal. I can live without it. It's fine.
Yeah.
Like you want to get on it at some point, but it's not an urgent thing.
Yeah. And plus also I found that a lot of the struggles I was dealing with were from my corporate job, like the stress and the anxiety and all these things that were translating into like physical discomforts and these ailments. Like I always had a scratchy throat or a runny nose or a headache or all this stuff, which magically disappeared when my circumstance and my environment changed, which is fucking wild, but I'm not surprised.
There's for it. I forget what it was. My dad said it to me, but it's something like the golden lie or something like that, where you work at your job, you get, I don't want to say slave away, but you get handed the ground every day, like you're a shell of your person, shell of who you are as each day goes by, and you hate your life and you're not motivated and you get fat and all these things. But then they offer you to overcorrect for that. Hey, but we'll take care of you with a 401k and health insurance, and we'll offer you X, Y, and Z as well to make up for it. So it's just this whole one big lie, this corporate wheel that we're all spinning, where like they're the ones that run us into the ground, but then they also offer us like, hey, we'll pick you up a little bit. That's good.
Yeah. And that's like that's not something I want to live by. And the perks of kind of losing my shit, not worth any of that. The granola bars and pizza parties and like the fucking drinks that you pay for once a month to do team dinners and whatever, not worth it at all.
I fully agree. So on that note, burning question that I have to ask before you head out: would you ever go back to corporate life?
I'm not sure. Maybe like part-time if I needed to just to learn and earn to build my business. But I really don't think I would go back. I would find some way to make gig work, like literally be waitress and then do this and do that, just so that I don't have to go back to something like that. Because at this point I've come so far that it wouldn't make sense for me to be like, go back to being a robot now, seeing what it's like on the other side.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah, I agree. I'm in the same boat. When I left ESPN, there was I said, I'm not doing this again. I'm not working for a big corporation again. I've seen what it does to me. I grinded away for 3.5 years. I rose, and then shit hit the fan pandemic wise. Then I started back at square one. So I'm like, this isn't the kind of life that I want to live anymore. I think I'm much better than this. I'm going to go do my own thing. I've gone out and proved I can do my own thing. But I did say that there was one company that I would want to work for. And I think it might actually happen. So I might get sucked back into corporate life. I'm not thrilled about it, but I did make a promise.
Which company?
Spotify. Spotify being the number one company in the world in terms of the audio space. So might happen. Might have some news on that soon for the Troy Parker Show listeners. But yeah, so I might get back into it. We'll see.
Yeah, I mean, listen, the other great thing is now that you've come out on the other side, you wonder if you can set better boundaries and like know what you're getting yourself into ahead of time so that you can actually you can like basically set the ground rules that apply for you in your life versus taking shit and kissing ass with what you did last time because you didn't know better. You never know.
For sure, exactly.
Or you can get into it and a month later you're like, no, goodbye. We're not doing this.
No, don't miss this. Yeah, no, for sure. I fully agree. Gabby, thank you so much for joining me on today's show. I know you got a bunch of gigs to go off to, so this is a good problem to I will post all of your episodes or all of your, various websites and accounts in the show notes of today's podcast. Gabby, I wish you the best of luck moving forward. I hope that you rise and rise and rise, and that the people who fucked her just keep going downhill. Thank you so much for joining me in.
Thanks for having me.
Thank you for watching today's episode of The Troy Farkas Show. If you would like more from me and my guests, head on over to thetroyfarkasshow.com for more podcasts, blogs, and videos. Be sure to drop a like on YouTube. You can subscribe to my channel. You can follow the show wherever you get your podcasts and leave us a review on Apple Podcasts. We would really appreciate it.